You get one edge rusher under the age of 30 for one play. Who do you got?
I got Cam Jordan from the Saints.
Ooh.
I want to go back to the playoffs when they beat the Panthers for the third time this past postseason. This dude here, one play because he can affect the game in so many different ways. Yes, he will bring your quarterback down for a sack. He will bat balls down. There's another thing you would want for one play to ruin a play. He will also force intentional groundings, which we saw in the end of that Panthers game in the playoffs that kind of thwarted the comeback. So I like his versatility and able to affect the game in a lot of different ways on one different play.
To me, it's just so unique with his size and athleticism on the edge.
Kind of been like the only guy out there for the Saints, too. You know what I mean?
Oh, he's been phenomenal. Now he got a little running mate this year, and Marcus Davenport.
Yeah.
We'll see how that even elevates his production, which has been outstanding. I'm going to go name brand here, and it's somebody that everybody's forgotten about because he's been injured. But you give me one play, I'll still take J.J. Watt.
Sure.
I'm assuming he's going to be coming back healthy. The guy's only 29 years old, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. And I need to have a play. I don't know if it's a run. I don't know if it's a pass. I know one thing, his motor never stops. He can play 1,000,000 snaps, and you don't see any drop-off. I can move him up and down the line, so I can just identify your front and say, we're going to attack this guy.
Whatever you want.
And then he can go get it done. So for one play, I'll still go J.J. Watt, and I think we've been so kind of enticing what we saw with Jadeveon Clowney last year. I want to see now Clowney's in his prime. He's kind of figured it out. I want to see now that actually taking some pressure off J.J. Watt. See if J.J. Watt can get back to what he was.
Yeah, no question about it. And for the record, you took J.J. Watt before I could take Cam Jordan. So, you know what I mean? you took J.J. before I could take him.
Yeah,
so
that's just
that's
the way I go there. All right, let's go one drive here. Under the age of 30, defensive edge rush here, one drive.
So I'm playing by the letter of the law with this thing here. One drive. So I'm going to say that Yannick Ngakoue is resting on the sidelines for the entire game. He has one drive, full juice, and with this dude's athletic ability, his speed and bend around the edge, for one drive, max effort, I'm going to go with Yannick Ngakoue to get to your quarterback and ruin the game.
Yeah, this is one drive kind of looking for a closer here.
Yeah.
Get off the field, finish a game. I'm going to go with the ultimate finisher. I'm going to go with Von Miller. I got to go back and look at the Super Bowl against the Carolina Panthers, how he finished that game. You give me one drive. It's hard to believe with what he's accomplished. Von Miller is a lot younger than you think, still under the age of 30. He gets it done. Again, one drive, and people look at his ability to bend and wrap around the edge. Yeah. When I studied him this offseason, I always like to go back and study these top guys. His power is so underrated. The leverage, he uses that length. He can beat you a lot of different ways. Give me Von Miller.
No, and you know what? A guy who came back probably even stronger after tearing an ACL, which is something you love to see as well. And he's got a little running mate, too, now. Let's see what Bradley Chubb does.
Shane Ray. No, Shane Ray didn't count. No. Well, Bradley Chubb, he's going to be what they were hoping Shane Ray was going to be. All right, let's get to one game here.
I like it. So this one, we can talk about our sack leader from a year ago, Chandler Jones, with the Cardinals. I feel like kind of somewhat like an under-the-radar sack leader, right? Out in the desert, the Cardinals weren't a great team.
I bet you that 80% of the fans did not know
that
the numbers he had last
17
year.
sacks.
Yep.
So the reason I'm taking him for one game is because there were only 3 games last year where he did not have a sack. Only 3 games where he did not get in the stat sheet, affect the game, bring the quarterback down, kill a drive. Okay, so every other game he was getting to the quarterback. In 4 of the other games, he was getting to him more than once. So multiple sacks and consistency. Give me Chandler Jones for one game.
One thing Chandler does, when I went back and looked at him, he's got a great move where he'll feint. He's so long, but he'll feint his hands. He'll fake a punch, get an offensive lineman to extend, and then he can just dip right underneath. So he's very nimble for
great hips.
That outstanding. Not the baddest man in his family, though.
No, Johnny Bones. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Khalil Mack. We're talking about one game. You mentioned kind of sacks coming in bunches.
Yeah.
That's been Khalil Mack during his career. Maybe have a little bit of dry spell here or there, but then he's liable to hit you with 3 sacks in one game and just completely take it over. So I'm betting that's the game that's going to happen. So for one game, give me Khalil Mack. Nobody in the league is better at converting speed to power than Khalil Mack. I'll take him for one game.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about the way that John Gruden might kind of mold this team. I think it's pretty clear that he views Khalil Mack as their guy coming off the edge and a guy that a real foundational piece there for sure. So
all right, this is the big one here. I kind of look at this as the main event because we're going a young guy here under the age of 30. You get this player for the next 5 years, no repeats. Who do you like?
Again, letter of the law here, like really taking this thing, this question, seriously for the next 5 years. So I'm going to go with Danielle Hunter.
just got
Minnesota. Scott, he got some scratch for sure. But he came into the league at 20 years old. He's already been in the league for 3 years. And he's kind of starting to get there, right? I mean, 12 sacks a year ago. I mean,
almost coming out of LSU, and just gets better and better and better.
So taking into account that he just got the contract extension, and he's done so well in Mike Zimmer's system, especially with Everson Griffin on the other side, that if he stays there for the next 5 years, that he's just going to continue to get better and be a monster off the edge. So Danielle Hunter is for sure a guy that I would want to have.
You kind of got the all underrated team here.
I do.
I like that about you. Digging deep. I'm going to go with something that's just obvious to me because you talked about young. You talked about having somebody on the other side that can help you out. How about Joey Bosa? I mean, you can make a case already. He's the premier edge rusher in the NFL with his skill set he possesses. You throw Melvin Ingram on the other side.
Another under 30. Yeah.
He's only going to get better here as he continues to refine his technique. I go back to that game against Kansas City after the game when he's with Tamba Ali after the game, getting a little bit of tips and pointers here, always learning, always growing. He's already fantastic. He's already a premier player. And I think he's going to get better. I'll take Joey Bosa for the next 5 years.
I love watching Joey Bosa play. I mean, he's got a little bit of that J.J. Watt in him, and that is just like such a reckless dude on the field. I love watching him, and I love watching him and Melvin Ingram go, on both sides.
There's a new star in L.A., but there's plenty of stars on that Charger team as well.
Yeah, there is.
How about that?